Hi guys, welcome to another edition of the Ladies of the Ridge Zoomcast, where we are reviewing episodes 3 and 4 this week, and also drinking our yummy cocktail. And I'm going to send it over to Lisa so she can tell you all about it.
Welcome back. Yeah, so every week over at the Ladies of the Ridge here, we celebrate with some whiskey and a cocktail. Last week, we had a delicious drink, and it was made with peach tea and lemon and honey, and it was absolutely delicious. It's so refreshing. And we asked you to submit cocktail names. And we reviewed the submissions, and we are proud to announce that the winner of the cocktail drink for the first inaugural Ladies of the Ridge cocktail is Grace VS on Twitter. And she came up with the name Peach on the Beach, which we thought was a fun play on, sex on the beach, peach on the beach, and Sam on the beach with his peach bums. So Grace, we will reach out to you in the next day or two via TM on Twitter with details on how we could send you a surprise. And in the meanwhile, this week's drink looks very different than last one's. Mine even has a sprinkle of cinnamon on top. You can see that. So this week's drink consists of coffee, and a cold brew of coffee and heavy cream, maple syrup, which is decadent, and of course, Sassenach whiskey. I think you could use a vanilla flavored whiskey if you'd like, but we prefer Sassenach here at the Ladies of the Ridge, and then a dusting of cinnamon. So, Slanja, cheers.
It's pretty good. So good.
Oh, wow. Delicious.
Not only is the coffee going to keep you up, but if you put a little extra whiskey in it, it's so good.
It is. It's a cold brew, but I truly think you could do this warm with hot coffee in the morning.
I think so.
And I just think they would taste absolutely yummy first thing in the morning. But so if you have some suggestions for this cocktail, just like last time, please use the hashtag Ladies of the Ridge and let us know on T-Glass what you think an appropriate name for this cocktail. Every cocktail that we have celebrates something along the lines of Men in Kilts, because we're here to review and laugh about Men in Kilts. And the last 2 episodes of Men in Kilts certainly gave us a lot to laugh about, didn't they?
They sure did. Sure did. I love how the beginning of episode 3 started with Sam and Graham in a rowboat humming the Skyboat song. It was pretty funny I don't know if everybody noticed, but Sam was the only one rowing. They weren't sharing the load. It was just Sam, and Graham was telling him faster, and then at the end
they're going the wrong way.
They were going the wrong way.
Right. And I think I had read somewhere that Sam had to convince Graham to get in the boat, and he was not into going in the boat, and I think he was unsuccessful in getting him in a kayak, but he managed to get him in the rowboat.
Sam has said that he just flat out refuses to do the kayak, even with all kinds of bribes and
kayak safer.
Yeah. But I thought that was pretty funny. And Sam's trying to rock the boat at the end, and poor Graham's holding on for dear life.
Right.
So.
But it's so cute. It was so beautiful, and it was fun to see them in a different form of transportation. I mean, the camper van is great, of course, but to see them sort of start off in a rowboat in the water is really neat to see.
I like their little camper van stories.
Yes.
I do. Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
So then they went to, they had a little campsite, and they had Gillibrich McMillan, who played Gwilyn the Bard on Outlander, and they had him
He retweeted me.
come and do a little
Singing.
Gaelic song.
Yeah.
He's
Which
got a
he says
beautiful
that's his
voice.
first language, which I found surprising that that was his first language.
I think it's
Right.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does have a
Yeah.
great voice. I think didn't he say something about how where they were, 95% of the people spoke Gaelic first as their first language.
Yeah. Yeah. They did.
That's incredible. I love old languages like that. It makes me miss like Latin. I think there's just such a neat connection to history through language.
Yes. I love listening to his voice, and I could probably listen to Scottish songs like
Anything.
that all day long.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it's very soothing, and it's just, I don't know, I just like the tempo of it and the just everything about it. I don't understand a word. That's okay.
I think
still like it.
if I remember, Graham made some comment about having Sam's porridge or Sam in my belly or something like that, and I was like dying when I watched it.
I know. The
And then
innuendos sometimes are really funny.
And then he sat on that rock, and the rock like wiggled as if it was a fake rock. Did you see that?
I saw that.
I thought, I don't know if that's clearly a prop. Either that
Yeah.
or he's. But yeah, so that was like a quick opener, right? And then
Maybe it was the rock from this last episode.
right?
A reward for putting the rock in.
Yeah. Where did they go after that? Do you remember? They got in the camper van. Where did they go?
They
That's when
did.
they started.
They ended up at Dune Castle, which is also
Castle.
Well, that's where Graham. Isn't that where Graham
Castle.
He was related to that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were very
Distant relations.
Yeah,
related.
that was super cool. I love how nostalgic they got, like that it's Castle Leoc. Like there was a sense of they were coming home, and he was like, "I think that was your bedroom."
Yeah, the one that got knocked off.
Yep.
That's what Van said. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty cool to see that. So they saw Ian McGillivray, who was he's the youngest clan chief in
Right.
Scotland, and he played the bagpipes for them. He actually played the Black Bear, was the name of the song that he played. And I did not know this, that bagpipes at one point were outlawed and were an instrument of war, and you were not allowed to use it unless it was part of the military. Is what
I didn't know they were
said.
a lot either, but
I bet you that happened when they did Culloden.
or the clearances, yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
with the kilts and the swords and all that.
Yeah. Did you see I don't know if it was at the end of the episode or at that end of that segment where Graham was playing? Was he really playing bagpipe? He
I
wasn't,
have-
right?
I have no idea.
No, he was pretending, and the guy
He was
Oh,
pretending.
There was
okay.
no air in the bags.
Yeah, I don't
Well,
know.
Because
He
Sam
looked
put on his Instagram. I don't know if you saw that,
No, I didn't.
and he did a pan, and the guy that they were talking to was actually playing it, and Graham was imitating him, but there was no air in the bags.
Right. I see.
At first, it looked like he was. He
Yeah.
fooled you, but
Right.
no.
Where did they go after that?
So then they went and they did their little dancing with Karis Jones. I don't know about you, but the two of them coming out and standing there and swirling their kilts around
The
like
swish.
okay, it really reminded me of like my 6-year-old granddaughter when she got what she called a princess dress that had all the petticoats, and she sat there and she swirled her dress until it flared out just like that.
Yeah.
And when I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, that is too
I
funny.
think Sam likes his kilts. He likes.
I do.
Show them off.
And then the dance that they were taught was one that's taught to 4, 5, and 6-year-olds, which was, I guess, a good place to start, but pretty good for them, I guess.
Yeah, it was an elementary way to start, right? Pretty.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be able to do it.
The two of them are like 2 children anyway, so it was pretty appropriate, I think.
I mean, I would have been stepping on the swords and killing myself. And
Mhm.
what were they were
was
saying?
different.
If somebody's gonna die or somebody's gonna get
If you
wounded,
move the sword, kick the sword, or you move the sword, you're gonna die in battle. And
Graham
if
died a
you
lot.
touch it, then you're gonna be injured. So
Right.
Graham moved it twice, so he was gonna die twice, and Sam was just gonna be injured.
Right.
But the two of them,
It
they
reminded
called
me
it
though, didn't it remind you of when Murtaugh danced that in the second half of season 1,
yes,
right?
yes.
Oh, when he and Claire were doing the
Yeah, they were on the road looking for Jamie and they were dancing and he was trying to do the sword dance.
Yep.
They should have had Duncan and Craw doing it with them.
Mm-hmm. Right?
That would have been funny.
Yeah, that would have been funny.
Have Duncan with him.
Who do you think would have done better, Duncan, Graham, or Sam?
Duncan.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
Sam didn't, even when he was doing it as Jamie in season 5, there wasn't any swords on the ground, was
There
there?
were no swords. Yeah, that was the Highland fling. That was different. That was with
right.
the
But Duncan actually did it with swords, right? Yeah. See,
yeah.
he's one up on him.
Maybe. Yeah, I love how they called it the Highland Fiasco instead of
right.
And the two of them, it was just so funny to watch the two of them just stumble over themselves trying to learn this, and the poor little girl that was teaching them, Karis, I don't know how she kept from just completely.
She was tiny, wasn't she? She was like 5 foot tall or something like that. Oh, Susie, you're frozen.
Just die of laughter.
Yeah. Yeah, she kept a pretty straight face, but I find that a lot
She kept it cool.
With a lot of these folks that Sam and Graham interview. They like stare at their banter and in shock and horror and like incredulity of like, are they for real? Are they acting? Are they?
I think they're for real.
Right. I think they are too. But like, I think it was Captain Kirk on the boat a couple of episodes ago, and he looked at Sam when he was playing around with Graham with the sea anemone, and he was like, "Are you for real?"
Yeah. Weirdo.
Weirdo.
Yeah.
So then we get to see the two of them back in the van, and they start singing the theme to the Flintstones.
Highlight of the episode right there.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
I posted on Twitter, I was like, who do you think is Fred and who do you think is Barney out of those two? Because Fred always drives and Sam drives, but
yeah, but they were imitating Fred and Wilma, weren't they? Not Barney.
Well, but Fred is grumpy, and I feel like that's more Graham.
That's true. Barney's more into doing things than.
I think Sam is Bam Bam. If we're doing the whole Flintstones, I think he's Bam Bam Sam.
I think he's more like Dino. And not because that's the pet, but because Dino has so much energy and he just goes like all over the place. Like he's never, always sedentary. He seems to be busy all the time.
Well, if Sam's going to be Bam Bam, I'm happy to be Pebbles. Just saying.
There you go. And how cute was he in that hat? That
I
little
know.
cat singing.
No,
How adorable was that?
I know.
Just pulled at my little heartstrings.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then they went to the tattoo, which is a mass celebration.
Right.
And
Oh, don't forget the stick.
yeah,
Don't
I
forget
was
the
thinking that.
stick thingy.
I don't know what it's called, maybe some sort of baton or something, but
Oh, it's a baton for marching
the
band.
two of them
It's
getting
called a
carried
stick.
away, on the
Called a
drum with the baton. Sam out there doing curls with it.
I
Um,
tweeted it was my peak challenge for meets Men in Kilts
Right. Yeah.
because he was
Like curl, like you said,
Curly,
like
yeah.
nice and curls. He was having a blast with that.
yeah, he was having so much
you can
fun.
poke somebody's eye out.
I know. I'd love to know who, again, like who makes a decision of who bangs the drum and who carries the baton and leads them. Like who decides that?
Of course, Sam does.
I don't know. I mean, he's always said it's my show. I've had every say in it. So does he make that decision? Does Graham make that decision? Does somebody get told you look like you're the one to hold drums?
Don't wonder if Graham has any say in it.
Right?
It's
Oh,
Sam and Graham show.
I'm sure he has quite a bit of say. I'm sure he does.
Remember when he was in the car, they were in the van and Sam spooked Graham and he was like having, oh, that was the other episode. Never mind.
What's the
I'm getting
next
ahead
one?
of myself. Getting ahead of
Yeah,
myself.
we're getting to that. We're getting to that. So
What happens when you have
you
half
guys
the
notice
already?
that the black leather jacket made an appearance, one we all like.
It did.
Yep. And then oh my gosh, Graham doing Little Red with his accent. So perfect. I loved it when he was talking about if he saw a man wearing a kilt, he'd go running the other way.
Uh-huh.
So I just love his accents when he does all those. And
I
Sam
know.
says he's got hundreds of them, and he said unfortunately I had to be in the van when he was talking with all of them. So
They had a
I
lot
can
of
only
miles.
imagine what that's like.
A lot of miles, a lot of accents, right?
I would love to be a fly on the wall or in the van. I'm sure it is just hysterical. It has to be with both the two of them. They've just got such a connection to each other, and they are just natural, funny people.
If
And
that
so,
that little Highland Q that's in the camper van, if that could talk, imagine
oh
what it would
gosh,
say. Maybe that could be their
oh
next
gosh,
book, right? Like,
the Highland stories
the
of the
Highland
Highland
Q's
Q.
perspective of Men in Kilts.
Right. So then they ended the show with them doing a Kaylee, and that was pretty funny. Sam
He lost
standing
his
there
shoe.
looking all awkward.
Yeah, but he lost his shoe somewhere along the line.
Did.
Yeah, he did. They
Of
both
course, we
said
never
both
got
their
it.
shoes came completely undone.
Do you think you could do it, Kaylee? Like, would you? Sam's talked about how he loves going to Kaylee's.
Yes,
Do
I
you-
probably could.
How about
I
you?
think I think we
I
had
could.
one.
I wouldn't mind doing that.
I think we
Yeah.
had one at my son's wedding. Sort of. Not, sort of.
I think I'd have to have a lot of these to do it because I tend to be really like nervous. And so I'd have to be really loosened up in order
I
to dance like that.
I would definitely need a little liquid courage and
Yeah.
a buddy.
Yeah. But I
I'm
think
not doing it on my own.
one of the things that I loved about that is like the idea of group dance doesn't really exist anymore. I mean, I guess in
Line
some places
dancing.
in the United States, there's line dancing, right? But other than that, there's not much. Like when I was a kid, I grew up in the Bronx and we did square dancing as one of our units in gym class or music class or something.
Yeah, we
like
did
that.
that.
But right, but other than line dancing, you don't really see that idea of group dancing. And I love that is still like present today in Scotland.
I do too. And it's so much fun to do things like that as a group. If you've ever gone line dancing and done like Cotton Eye Joe or something,
Did you break
like
your heart?
It's a lot of fun to do that as a group.
I haven't done that.
We used to have a country bar here in town, and years ago, I mean, we have another one, but when I used to go back when I was a lot younger, we would do all those, and you're drinking and you're laughing and you're with your friends, and sometimes you mess up. You're supposed to turn to the left, but you turn to the right, and everybody else is turned to the left.
Like when you go skating and you do with your
kind of, I guess, like I've been to weddings and
turn yourself around, do the hokey
Oh my God.
pokey. I was thinking of like the chicken dance. I was thinking of like the electric slide or like the Macarena, those things that people do at weddings. But like the tarantella in the Italian culture is a group dance where everybody, and because like even in the electric slide and the Macarena, you don't interact with anybody else. Like everybody does things in unison, but you don't interact with anybody else. But like with the ceilidh and even with the tarantella in Italian tradition, you swing and dance with different people and you move around the room. And so that's one of the things that I love that.
You have to have a partner.
Oh, see, I don't even know.
Go around, because you go around the room.
Do-si-do. Yeah, I remember doing that.
You have to do you have to have a partner to do the Cotton Eye Joe and go around the room.
Right.
And so it's a lot of fun as you're going around.
Yeah, so I love that, but I would have to have a lot of this in order to do that, and I would probably lose my shoes.
He lost his shoe.
Yeah, I would too.
The shoe.
I'm okay with him losing his shirt too, but
Who's not? I was okay with him losing all of it. So, I mean, that was just an episode ago.
Yeah, but I speaking of shirtless, the episode after, which is superstition and witchcraft, he did lose his shirt on that one. But I loved that episode because I love like spooky stuff, and that's actually one of the things that drew me to Outlander. I don't know if you both found that too. Like I love this idea of the veil being really thin between two different worlds. And I think Scotland has such a mythical element to it that I think is appealing.
Believe it or not, there are still a lot of people who believe in fairies and magic and
paganism. Yeah.
I mean, it's still in that part of the world, and of course other cultures, but there are a lot of people in Scotland who still believe, in stuff like that. I find it very fascinating. I have researched fairies and paganism and all that folklore and stuff for various things, and it's just very, very fascinating.
Yeah. It's also funny to watch Sam freak Graham out.
Oh my gosh, he lives for that, and he's
successful at it.
Right.
And he says that's the best part.
Right.
He's putting them in uncomfortable situations.
So
that's what makes us laugh, though.
Right. And that's what I was going to say before I was getting ahead of myself to episode 4, which is when he gave Graham a heart attack when you were driving in the van. And he was talking about right. And then he freaked him out. He's like shouted at him. And
oh my God, what's that?
That would be me.
Graham was like, oh my God. But so I love that episode because I like I said, I love all the folklore behind the afterlife and all of that. Even like I think the very first episode of Outlander where Claire and Frank show up, and it's the feast of Sam Wayne, I think, right? Which is Halloween. and they had the blood smeared on the doors, and I just thought it was so cool. But this episode,
They still do that.
Yeah, you were there. Did you see that?
No, the only thing we went to, like I said earlier, was underneath Royal Mile. They have another city, and they have what am I trying to say? Not catacombs. I guess it is catacombs, and it's haunted, and we got spooked. My mother and I. Say King's Mary Close or something. It runs the whole Royal Mile.
Mm-hmm.
So it's freaky.
Yeah. So they were they started in a kirkyard. Where was that? Where was the kirkyard?
Greyfriars.
Greyfriars. That's right. And so they started there. That, first of all, that historian, the woman who was like all about the history of that,
and locking them in that room with the gate closed.
Right? But she was really good about, like, you know, you could tell she gives tours or something like that. I don't know. I think it reminded me of being in Charleston, South Carolina, and taking tours of all the graveyards in Charleston, because there's a lot of ghosts there as well. And
we have them here in Fredericksburg.
Yeah. And so she was really good about, you know, leading them in. She's like, no, after you. And then she locked them in that.
And then Sam had, no, that's not where Sam did that was the other one where he blessed himself.
Mm-hmm. But
let's talk about the torture chamber.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
poor Graham.
Poor Graham.
Poor Graham.
I want to know how long he stayed like that with that thing on his head and his hands like this. He's
a good egg for letting Sam do that to him. He really is.
He was a good sport for that. But I was horrified by the things that I saw in there that they put those witches through. That was crazy.
Well, we burned them a steak here.
I know. Well, I think ultimately that's what happened to them too. I think they were burned at the stake no matter what, but they were put through all the thumbs, and that was bad.
I don't think it mattered much. You know, once you were accused, not very many people survived that.
And I think that's kind of what happened on Outlander with Galis and Claire, right? Is that I think, remember, Ned was like, they want a witch. They want a witch hunt. And so they've already made that decision that there was almost no point in the whole trial.
Right. Also, you know, I've seen people comment about how Claire, you know, should have made sure that, you know, Galis was gone, and why didn't she try to rescue her? Because, you know, Claire knew, being from the future, that not once you were accused, not very many people actually survived.
Right.
And so in Claire's mind, you know, Galis didn't survive that. I mean, she, you know, once Galis said that she was a witch and she was having Beelzebub's baby, or Satan's baby,
right,
you know, that kind of sealed her fate right there. So yeah. Claire never even thought that she would survive anything like that, you know,
right.
It was almost unheard of.
I did think, it made me think about the Salem witch trials, which happened here in the United States in the 1600s, I think. And I just think like that idea still continued on into Scotland, or they were happening simultaneously, but lingered into Scotland where it stopped in the US. So I thought that was a way to kind of unify all of us through death, I guess. But so they moved on from the torture chamber. And then they went up to Craignadoon, right? To see those standing stones. Those were
standing.
They went to Clava Cairns.
Yeah. Yeah. Those were like, what were they, 5,000 years old or something like that?
Yeah, they were something like that. They were the
4,000 years to the Bronze Age.
Yeah, they were old, and they were the aerial view, I wonder if they had drones, but the aerial view of that was pretty impressive too, to see the circle and then to almost see like the
And they made casts
cross.
of those and brought them back to wherever they filmed out. That's pretty cool.
right. Right.
And
yeah,
then
they made the cast.
And watching Sam try to go through the stone. I was expecting to see some film trick where he actually went through the.
Oh my
Right,
God.
that would have been cool.
Where
That would've
Sam is
been-
acting like Claire. And Graham would
And
be
yeah.
Jamie. Oh
See,
my
that's why you
God.
have to stay to the end credits because then you miss good stuff.
Yeah.
Right. Right. That dance that they did.
They were trying
Like-
to recreate the dance.
I would love to know what Katrina thought about all of that when she watched it.
Well, they Sam asked her. or
I know.
Sam
So-
asked.
Yeah, both of them did. I think she never answered though, so I don't know.
I know that was pretty funny, and Sam was so dramatic, and he was like pushing on it and really trying
I'm
to,
not touching it yet. I'm not touching it yet.
yeah.
You're
And then
so pretty.
I couldn't help but to think about. And then Graham was like, "It's fake. It's fantasy. It's not real."
Time travel's real. Come on, people. No,
Well, yeah. So then
I
they
love
left.
how Sam flits back and forth between Jamie and himself a lot. He
Mhm.
does that a lot when they do things that were done on Outlander.
I love
And
all the
it's
Outlander
really funny to see
references.
it. I love it.
I would think if you haven't seen Outlander, this show would make you want to watch Outlander. And if you have seen Outlander, this show just pays homage to it. Like, it's just super cool that they make all those references.
Yeah, it's so great to see the little.
you can't do
clip.
that with Game of Thrones now, can you?
Game of what?
Hey now,
I've never seen Game of Thrones. I'm sorry.
Me either.
loved it.
No.
Still,
Yeah, but they're
still upset about
dragons
season
aren't
8.
real, Susie. Dragons are not real.
Wrong show. Save that for another Zoomcast, Susie.
Winter is coming. Okay, or it's been here now.
So then they ended up at my favorite part of them all, which is like, I love how they end this way with the best for last, the tribal dance that they did. that was
Now,
pretty.
I wonder if they were drunk or drugged or roofied or put a spell on.
Or all the above.
Or the above.
Yeah, I would be.
And
but
was
to
that
me-
water or was that alcohol that he poured on himself?
Oh, I think he would pour water. He wouldn't waste alcohol pouring it on himself.
True.
Definitely wouldn't waste any Sassenach.
No, but I love the headdresses that had total like Jamaica vibes, right, from season 3. Do you
don't-
think that?
What was it called?
Yes.
What was it called?
A band away.
A band away.
Yeah. A band away. Yeah. I love that, like the whole, both of them had the headdresses, and they were like frightened and curious and fascinated all at once. You could see it, their expressions on their
Yeah, his
faces.
expressions are priceless.
Right? I
Both of
know.
them are.
You're really good at doing screenshots. I can't do any of that kind of stuff, but like you really capture all those screenshots of their faces. They're
I
so
try.
expressive. But yeah, so they did that, and I just, again, like I love this tradition of like the Druids that this thousands of years ago, and you have them still honoring this pagan ceremony, and then ultimately to do it and be shirtless and pour water down your that was a real treat.
It was a treat.
But that is something that I would like. I've been to concerts, and not that I've taken my clothes off at concerts. I might have, might not have. I'm not going to say, but when you are just in like the mood of like it's nighttime and the music's playing and there's bonfires and you might have had something to drink or been roofied or all the above, and you end up somehow
Somehow your underwear
pouring-
comes off in that bottom stage. Is that what you're saying?
right, and you shirtless and pouring water down your face. And so like that, I could do that way more than the Kaylee dancing all around, because that feels too I don't know, embarrassing.
Well, when you get to that point that you're waving your clothing in the air, you had quite a bit of liquid courage.
Yeah.
And you've been roofied.
Yes.
And or.
Those
Or
headdresses,
Or
the
you've had
headdresses
Mary-
were cool.
Or you've had Mary Jane.
right? Yes, those headdresses were very, very cool, though. I would feel pretty.
I wonder if they were heavy.
I know, or how hard it was to balance it all, or if it itched,
And what the significance of them were.
and did it itch Graham's bald head? That's what I want to know. Did he have like twig marks on his bald head? And is that why he wore the cap the rest of all the other episodes? To cover it all up. That's what I want to know. Or how long were they there for?
Yeah. I wish we could see more behind the scenes on that one.
I want to see bloopers. Not that
Yeah.
we don't
for
see bloopers.
sure.
Yeah.
Huh?
Bloopers would be great. And I think that's part of what, when they're rolling the credits, that's part of the bloopers there.
Yeah. But hopefully that would be a bonus episode 9. Just saying for, folks at Stars.
Hey, or if they sell the DVD of it, maybe we'll get a blooper reel.
That's right. So next week's episode is Culture and Tradition.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah. What were the previews on that? Remind me again. The previews for Culture and Tradition. What were they doing? Remember? I couldn't
I
get past.
don't.
My brain
because I
turned
was-
off once I saw Sam
Yeah, I
shirtless.
was very, very tired when I watched it the other night.
Oh my gosh, I can't remember
I
now
think
what
I
cult-
really got through the credits and I was like out.
Well,
like
I'm
light.
sure. Okay, being I'm the only one who went to Scotland, culture would probably be like Edinburgh Castle, or Holyrood, or going somewhere like Glasgow and sing. I don't know, museum or something.
I can't remember for the life of me what the previews were, because like I said, I couldn't get past the shirtless Sam with the headdress on the water. Anyways, I'm sure it'll be
Or they
spectacular.
might go to Balmoral Castle. You never know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll be spectacular. And then, so we will Zoomcast again in 2 weeks and we'll review Culture and Tradition, which is episode 5. And we will also review episode 6. That'll be our 3rd Zoomcast. And then we'll have one more Zoomcast after that, where we will review the last 2 episodes of Men In Kilts. And so next week's contest,
Drink.
contest is going to look a little different. Next week, we want you to let us know what the drink should be. So instead of naming the drink, you're actually going to create the drink. And you can find a drink that's already made. You don't have to make one up yourself. So you can
Just
find a
rename it.
recipe. But right. And then use
Just
hashtag
send us-
the Ridge on T-Blast.
Send us the recipe and Ladies of the Ridge hashtag.
And then tune into our next Zoomcast, which is posted on our YouTube channel, and find out which drink wins. And we'll have more fun surprises. Grace, don't forget to reach out or wait for us to reach out to you so we can get your information, your mailing address and all that good stuff, so we can send you a prize for Peach on the Beach. And we look forward to learning about the title for this week's now empty cocktail, which again consisted of cold brew coffee, maple syrup, Sassenach whiskey, and dusting
Or I have
of
a pile of cinnamon in mine.
And
so I
heavy
didn't-
cream.
a
Don't
dusting
forget
of
heavy cream.
cinnamon, and oh yeah, and heavy cream. Right, that's what made it really frothy.
And you can use half and half. I used half and half in mine and it was just fine.
Yeah. So ladies, this was fun yet again. 3 ladies.
It was. Well, thank you guys for joining us, and Solange, even though we're empty.
Good night.
Good
Night.
night.